And we're live.
Hi campers, happy Monday. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I'm here with Billy Bridges, sorry. How are you today, Billy?
I'm great. Thanks a lot for having me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. Just going to do a little introduction about Billy. He's a 5-time Paralympian, para gold medalist, 4-time world champion, role model, and active member of the community through public speaking and public involvement. His journey with Team Canada started when he was 14 years old. He has been involved with the team for 21 years. That's a long time there, that's for sure. He's been currently involved in many other sports, including wheelchair basketball, tennis, wrestling, skateboarding, and mountain biking. Go with all those, amazing. Besides sports, Billy is currently attending the University of Toronto, pursuing a degree in English literature. Is there anything you haven't done is what I want to know. And he also lives in Toronto with his wife, Sammy Jo, who is also a 3-time Olympian goaltender, and their adorable daughter, Kenzie. So thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, I have quite a few questions for you, and I'm sure all the campers would love to know a little bit more about you. So I'm going to just ask you, what is a typical day in your life? What does that look like, Billy?
Well, now it's a little bit different, as we all know. I mean, I'm very lucky to still be part of the team, because I feel like it's given me a lot more structure than I definitely would have had going into this kind of terrible global event here. But I mean, we have so many specialists that are on our team and on our squad and our staff that keep us busy, from all things, from yoga and physio to obviously our strength and conditioning workouts and our cardio workouts, and right through to our on ice staff, and we try to keep ourselves busy. I mean, we're basically doing 2 or 3 of those things every single day, leading into tournaments. And at the end of the season, we would have a little bit of off time. This year we got 2 weeks, which was not long enough. As everyone knows, you need a little bit of a break, but it's good. It's awesome to keep you focused, and that's where para sport has come in our world right now. Is that if you're not a 12 months of the year athlete and competing as hard as you can all the time and keeping that focus, you're not the one that's bringing home the gold medal. And that's what we've really found out, and that's what we're really striving to be every day.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you. I'm definitely impressed by your resume of all the things you have done. It's incredible. So tell me, what was it like, the journey to become a professional athlete?
Well, my journey was much different than a lot of others. I was born with my disability, spina bifida. Raise the roof to any spina bifida kids watching, or adults. I can't discriminate. But so when I was born in the 80s, there wasn't really any Paralympic sports on TV, and so my role models were like Wayne Gretzky and Bjorn Fleury, and I wanted to take big slap shots like Al McGuinness, and but everything was about hockey for me, and I would play kind of like stick hockey with friends, like mini sticks, and we'd play with spoons in the hallway. But once we started getting older and my friends started going to double B, double A tryouts and actually playing hockey and spending all their time with that, I became very lost. And I actually started skateboarding with some friends because it was something I could do on my crutches. And I was lucky to have one of my teammates, his grandmother Colleen. She saw me skateboarding downtown Guelph, and she started screaming at me, hey you, and she started running across the street at me, and I was like, oh, here we go. I'm gonna get in trouble again. Like, yes, what would you like? I'll pick up the skateboard. And she goes, oh, what disabled sports do you play? Like, what teams do you play? What do you do? And I had no idea what she was even talking about. And I was so appreciative and so lucky at the time that she would drive all the way in from Fergus to pick me up and take me to wheelchair basketball practices with Brad Bowden and her grandson, and we just fell in love with the sport. And we were lucky to have a coach, Jeff Benner, who, just like what Issa Seals does, he made sure that each one of the athletes played every sport that they could. And so he would run a little summer camp and get us into tennis and canoeing and kayaking, and which obviously is all the things that I also got to do when I went to Easter Seals. And he showed us sledge hockey finally, and I think I was 11 or 12, and I just fell in love with it right away. And just as soon as I got strapped in, and everyone knows how hard it is to bring your equipment to the rink, and finally get the sled over the boards, because there's no sledge hockey rinks back then either. So you're just kind of crawling around on these 40-pound sleds. But as soon as your picks hit the ice and you took off, it was just such a free feeling that I just fell in love with it, and that's what got me into sports and made me want to just play every day.
Wow, that's such an incredible story. And again, I think that can just be you're an incredible role model to all the children here today, to show them that, anything is possible, absolutely, no matter what. So thank you. That's amazing. So you shared a little bit about how you got there, but what were some of the obstacles that you had to face in becoming a professional athlete? And, how did you overcome it?
Well, the first obstacle was exposure. Back then, it was so tough to again see those role models in those sports and really have something to strive for. And then it was availability. I mean, there was only a couple of sledge hockey clubs or wheelchair basketball clubs around the country, and while those did such a great job, if you lived outside those cities, you had such a tough time. And sledge hockey wasn't with Hockey Canada, so there was no mandates from the branches to really reach out and try to push sledge hockey. And that's where I'm proud to say a lot of those barriers are removed. There are such phenomenal programs and people that really want to help across the country, and finally people are really starting to take advantage of those and reaching out to those programs to such as E-aster Seals, to try to find a sledge or try to find ice that they can skate on, or a team to play with, or a hill to ski down. I just reached out to Mary Montgomery in Manitoba to try sit ski Nordic cross country skiing, because I just wanted to do it so bad. And there's these people that are out there all across the country that are trying to help and are so readily available now online that it's pretty awesome. Really, a lot of the barriers now are on us and what we do, and I really try to encourage anyone who is disabled or not to not be afraid to be uncomfortable. If there's something that you feel like you could be good at or want to try, it's okay to not be good at it and for it to feel awkward, because our equipment is so different from every single person. Every single person on my hockey team could not use another person's sled. I mean, we're all like, these guys are pretty amazing athletes. They probably could try it, but it's so awkward because how you sit in your sled, the height, the tilt, the angles are so much different compared to everybody else. And that's where you really need to take advantage of any kind of expert or someone who wants to help, because something that can feel absolutely terrible 10 minutes later with some tinkering can feel great. And so I really encourage everyone to be okay with feeling uncomfortable and to remove that barrier from our own minds, because once you start playing these sports, it's so much fun.
I couldn't agree more. And you're right, able or disabled, we all have our challenges in life. I know when I first started playing baseball years ago, I was the same, doing cartwheels on the field, scared. My mom would say, "We stand up," but I made it through and loved baseball in the end. So
good.
I think you just kind of answered that question, but if there was any advice that you could give to our E-aster Seals kids and young adults on persisting through adversity, is there one thing particular that you could maybe help them to guide them through and persevering through?
Yeah, I mean, that was one thing that E-aster Seals really did teach myself at a young age. I had a tough time feeling like I belonged. I always felt very, very different. And I'm sure, and that's what, kind of opened my eyes once I went to E-aster Seals, was to see how many other people felt that way. But since I've been on this like national team role and I've had the awesome chance to travel to almost 40 countries in the world and meet so many incredible people, you start to realize that everybody feels that way. Almost nobody feels like they 100% belong here, that everyone else is, subpar to them. Everyone kind of feels like we're catching up, and we need to just kind of switch our focus to, instead of like, oh, I really wish I could do that. and change it to, you know what, I'm going to work really hard and I admire that person for doing that and I'm going to get there. And we need to recognize that wherever we're at, there's someone else that's watching us and saying, oh, I really wish I could push my wheelchair like that. Or I really wish that you know, I could drink with both my hands, or any of these things. That everyone's in a different position, and we need to appreciate where we're at, but always trying to be better. You know, and that's one thing that goes for everybody, is that, you know, it's very easy, especially at a time like this, to feel very comfortable at, you know, sitting down. Don't worry, I love my video games, but to sit there and play some video games and just, I always love enjoying life and soaking it in, but I also fully appreciate how much, you know, trying to do something every single day to be a little bit better the day before can go such a long way in your careers and your academics, and especially in athletics.
I couldn't agree more. I've always said that I believe the word can't should be taken out of the dictionary, only to can. And I think if you put your mind to anything, you can achieve and accomplish whatever you set out to do. So thank you for that. So are you still training right now because of COVID? And if so, how is it affecting your training?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my teammates will come on this call pretty soon to start chirping me, because I had to jump off one of our mandatory Zoom calls. But yeah, we had a little bit of time to, you know, it was a little bit of a struggle trying to figure out how to do all these things at home, because we, as national team athletes, were lucky to get memberships to some gyms, and I have a great gym at the Ontario Racket Club right by my place that has everything, and it's fully wheelchair accessible and has everything that I need. But I don't have that right now, and just like kind of everybody else, and it has been a struggle to try to figure it all out. But like, again, with Hockey Canada, we've been so lucky to have people push us and help us to figure out what we need to do to still, you know, to still try to push ourselves every single day and still try to get stronger. Because at the end of the day, hopefully next year we'll still have a World Championships, and the year after will be the Paralympic Games. And you know, Canada hasn't brought home a gold medal in 16 years, and we're really working hard to get to that point, and we're not going to get there by just kind of sitting back. And so it's been trying to eliminate the barriers in our minds of what we can and can't accomplish. I know there's a lot of emails that I would send myself to our strength and conditioning coach, Tessa, and I would say, oh, I don't have this. I don't think I can do it. And then she will just ask why. Well, there's got to be something else. Like there's always a different way to adapt and to do it, and to change our excuses into reasons, because reasons, you can find a way around it, and you can find a way to figure it out. And excuses really is just kind of an excuse in your head to say, I don't have to. When at the end of the day, if I want to get to where I want to be, I need to stop having those excuses. And I am lucky to be a part of a team, and I hold myself accountable to every single member on that team, and not just my teammates, but also my staff and Hockey Canada as well, who's helped us out so much, especially through these trying times. They could have let the Sledge hockey program go, but they decided to keep it and to really help us out. And I have that to owe to them, but we all have it to owe to ourselves of how much we push, and how many excuses we make for ourselves, and not just change them to reasons and ways that we can get around it.
Amazing. Well, I'm just going to get a little woo woo Team Canada this year. Hey, everybody. Yeah. Let's go for it. Why not? Right? Anything's achievable, like you just said. So my last question for you is, what advice do you have for young athletes? What would you recommend to all the kids listening today?
Well, personally, what's worked for me is trying and competing in as many sports as you can. And I know that there are restrictions to that, with equipment or financial or anything, but it is amazing of like trying different sports and realizing how easy you can make those work at home. I know wheelchair tennis was something that I didn't find until later in life, and I wish I knew about it back when I was younger, because I could have played that as soon as I got my first everyday wheelchair, which was just a hand-me-down from Brad Bowden. As soon as I got that chair, I could have taken that to the courts every single day and played with a friend. And I'm so lucky to have found that sport. But there's so many different programs out there that help you to try all these different things, and I would definitely recommend to try anything. I mean, there's kids doing backflips off skateboard ramps now, and I don't recommend that unless you actually train and practice it. But it's possible. There's so many things that we can do, and I encourage everyone to go out and try them all and to push yourself to see how far you can get. I know when I first started playing sledge hockey, I joined with a bunch of other people, obviously, that had varying levels of disabilities, and in continuing to compete and to work as hard as I could to get better at that, it ended up strengthening my body to be able to handle living with a disability, because it is very, very difficult just to maintain the amount of calories burnt in a day when you're in a seated position. I use a chair every day now. I used to walk with crutches, but it kind of really damaged my dislocated hips, so I try to stay on the chair as much as I can. But I now see in my 30s being in a wheelchair, like I got to keep moving, or else I put on weight really fast. And when you have that disability, that minor restriction, because if all of us put on weight, it's a downward slope, but being disabled can really add those restrictions, and it makes just everyday things so much more difficult. I've seen people that I used to know with disabilities like not be able to get into their car now, and they need to live with full-time assistance. And I'm lucky to be able to do all these things, and now to be able to parent my daughter. And I think to the best of my ability, and I do every single thing that I possibly can with her. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I had let myself just be lazy and not try to push to be better every single day and to get stronger, because we need all the muscles that we can get. And the biceps aren't just for the beach; they're also just for getting into our wheelchairs and getting around and having just a better life. And that's why I recommend sport to everyone.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you for that. I'm all about being active, whether or not in a wheelchair or not, because again, we are, every day we need to keep moving. So thank you for that. I'm going to pass it over to Ben, because I know these children, the campers, I'm sure have a lot of amazing questions for you. So Ben, please take it away.
Yes. I have the great pleasure of taking the questions that are on the YouTube chat and delivering them to Billy here now. Before I do, I just want to say that if you have any more questions, we're not limiting them to the ones that have been asked right now. You can still do so in the chat, and I'll be sure to pass them along. But our first question comes from Michael Lauer, who asks, how long have you played hockey?
Well, Michael, I think I started in 97. So 24 years. I've been to 5 Paralympic Games. I have my medals here. I don't know if you guys can see them well or not, but we have our bronze medal from Sochi. So that is 4 years. Our silver medal from Pyeongchang. And these things are awesome, by the way. They're so heavy, and that's why we work every single day for these things. And then we have the gold medal from Torino. And if anyone's doing math, they can count that that's only 12 years. In Vancouver and in Salt Lake City, we both missed out of the medal rounds, both by tooth and nail right in the last second of the third period. So we fought very hard for these ones. But I've been on the Paralympic team for 21 years, and I've been playing for 23 or 4. Long time. Most of my teammates now, I started the team before they were born.
That's a long playing career. So good for you, Billy. Our next question, I'm gonna relay the question from Casey McKay, who asks, "What has been the biggest challenge for you playing sledge hockey?"
Casey, the biggest challenge for me was probably when I was younger. I was lucky to have a lot of people that would reach out to help me to get to ice time, to get to different venues. I made the team at a young age of 14, and so I even had to have some of my older teammates become my legal guardians to take me to Sweden and all these things for tournaments. And now at an older age, I've found that my biggest struggle is balance, because we obviously we need our life balance, and from enjoyment of life and vacation to now I have a child that I just love being around every single day and want to be there for. And it's finding that balance and that ability to push yourself when you're the most tired to do the things that you have to get out of the way. Has probably been one of the biggest struggles for me, and really one of the things that I'm most proud about accomplishing as well.
Yeah, certainly. Our next question, that isn't really a question, it's more of a comment, comes from Lauren Squizzato. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She just says, "Thank you for joining us, Billy."
No problem, Squizzy.
Next, we have a question from Ashley M, who asks, "What are the struggles that you have had with caring for your daughter while being in a wheelchair?"
Yeah, I mean, probably a lot of the struggles that I've had are, besides time, because a lot of times we're away for about 100 days a year, and so I'm lucky to have a wife that works as a motivational speaker and has events plotted out through the year so that we can kind of juggle it. So all the days missed has been tough, but there's not as many struggles as I thought that there would be. I mean, my daughter could balance herself seated on my one knee while I wheeled around at like 1 month. At 1 month, she was holding herself in that position while I wheeled around the house. It was very incredible to see how resilient children are. I mean, she just rode on my lap almost the entire time. Now she's about 55 pounds. She's a big kid, but still gets up there. But I mean, going through airports and Canada's Wonderland and all these things, my daughter would ride on my lap really, really easily. And our change table didn't have drawers underneath, so I could slide underneath, and our crib was at a height that I could slide underneath to be able to get her as well. And it's been pretty amazing to see all the things that I made up in my head that never came to fruition about how difficult things would be. So it hasn't been as much of a struggle as I thought it would be, and for me, it's just kind of been mostly time.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to give the last call for questions in our chat room here, but I will ask. You have spoken about balance and how hockey and family and school have now played a big role in your life, especially now that you're studying at the University of Toronto, if I heard correctly. So maybe you can talk about what the role of balance has been in your life, and what advice you may have for young adults who want to get into so many different things but may not have the time.
Sure. I mean, I'm very much part-time now with school, but when I was attending a lot more classes altogether, it was a struggle, because I found if I really pushed for better marks, that my hockey would start to go away, and when I pushed for hockey and marks, my relationships or my friendships would start to not, I wouldn't be able to put as much attention into it. And I've really had to turn myself into more of I hate this word, but more of a routine or structured kind of individual with an actual schedule, because I hate those things. I would much rather just live by the moment and by the seat of my pants and be spontaneous. But when you have a lot of things that you care about, you care about them enough to really schedule them and work through it, appropriately.
Mm-hmm. We got another comment from Jamie V, who just plainly says, "You're awesome."
Well, that's awesome that you guys are on this call. I mean, it's such an amazing thing what Easter Seals is doing. It certainly changed my life as a kid. Easter Seals was the first thing that Brad and his grandma Colleen really got me into. And the first year we were there, we were part of a commercial. It was like a little random baseball game where I hit a ball with my crutches and like ran to first base and stuff. And I don't know, it was so much fun. There were so many activities that we did every time we went to Easter Seals, and made a lot of pen pals. I guess nobody writes each other anymore, but maybe some emails or something. But it's pretty awesome, and I'm happy to be a part of it now. And I can't wait until we can all get back actually into camp, and I can start to attend some of those and have some fun.
I feel the same way, Billy. Our next question comes from Lucas Sadola, who says, can you recall a memorable occasion during your sledge hockey career?
Oh, there's been so many. I mean, and each one plays such a different role. I mean, we won the Paralympic gold in 2006, and it happened when I was like 21 years old. And, I was at such a young age, and obviously I'd been a part of that team for a while, but I didn't appreciate what it meant to all my teammates. We had so many teammates that were over 40 at the time and had been on the team for years. And that was the first and only gold that we had won, and didn't really appreciate at the time what it really meant to those guys. That gold medal that they worked so hard for. And that's certainly what I'm starting to see now with being a part of the team for so long, and seeing some of the incredible hockey players that have come onto our team and have now moved on that never got that Paralympic gold medal. And, it really places a lot more onus on that. But our latest was the 2017 World Championship. I don't know if that can come into focus or not, but when you win, Hockey Canada gives you these rings at a ring gala and ring ceremony. And, 2017 meant so much. It was a year and a half after my daughter was born, and, the struggles of finding balance after that and really conquering it and feeling like I really contributed a lot to that win, really felt quite special, especially after it had been so long since we had won something before that. So you find different moments every single year that you play, and certainly when our entire year comes down to one game at the end of the year, you start to appreciate a lot of the little things too, the little practice battles that you win too, and I certainly enjoy the whole process.
Mm-hmm. You certainly do have better bling than I do. Okay, so I think we'll just end it off by saying you've had over 20 years of hockey playing experience. And I kind of want to turn this into a three-part question: is what does the future hold for your hockey career? How much longer do you envision yourself playing? And what's next for you when you finish your sledge hockey career?
Finish. I don't know what that means. Yeah, I mean, it's been so awesome, and you really get addicted to the winning moments. Like I said, they're so few and far between, but the feeling of being a part of that, and really now it's the feeling of trying to help my team and my program and my country get to that podium and those gold medals as well, because I know that there's still so many guys that are just the most incredible athletes and people that I've ever known are on my team right now, and a lot of them don't have that victory, and I just, as long as I'm contributing and able to help, I will continue to be a part of that, because I want to share that feeling with my program, and I really feel like we owe it to Hockey Canada and to our staff that works so hard and tirelessly to put us in the position to win, and it always feels like such a letdown when we end those seasons without winning, and that's what I talk about, it being very difficult when everything, all the onus is on that one game, especially when it comes down to the Paralympics. It's one game, 45 minutes or a little bit more every 4 years, and those gold medals are not won in that tournament. They're not won in that winter. They're not even won in that year. They're won in all the years of working and training and effort that you put in before that. And that's, that's really the stride, like the goal setting and all these things that I've become addicted to, that I want to continue to help my team succeed. And my future holds this team as long as I can help. And I never want to take a passenger seat and watch other people do it for me. So as long as I'm helping, I'm always going to be pushing to make this team and be a part of it. And, once I'm done, who knows? I don't know. Being the best father that I can be, my daughter is going to be so annoyed with me once I'm not on a hockey team, and 100% of my time is directed into her. My wife and I are both hockey players, and all she wants to be is a ballerina princess fairy unicorn. So she's going to be the best darn ballerina princess fairy unicorn that the world has ever seen as soon as I'm done. So well, hopefully for her sake, I'll be on this team for a few more years. But I certainly enjoy it and enjoyed being part of this call too. Thank you.
Well, Billy, I believe, is that all the questions we have there, Ben?
That is all from our chat room, yes.
All right. Well, I think you're a true testament of strength, Billy, a role model, definitely to many. So thank you so much for taking the time. I'm sure all the campers enjoyed this. I know I personally did. So all the best to you and your family, and Team Canada go.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to do this in person with the kids too.